In today's demonstration, we'll be discussing smart numbers for VBC. Smart numbers is an additional way that customers can process and ingest information before it is handed off to an extension for an end user to handle their customers' calls. The Vonage Business Communications System, leveraging smart numbers, is actually processed from the business application section of the admin portal. By clicking on smart numbers, this allows you to configure and deploy custom code leveraging the Vonage API system, formerly known as Nexmo and TalkBox. You can see in this example that I already have an application that's been configured and that the system is active. Let's go ahead and click on the Edit button. Inside this app, you can see I have a phone number assigned that will actually take the inbound calls and send it off to the Vonage API system to have any additional tasks processed before it is handed back to the VBC system for the end user to answer. The Vonage API application ID is actually generated by the Nexmo system when you create a voice API application. You can turn the smart number on or off at any time from inside this menu. For additional information on smart numbers and how to set them up, you can click on the link here, which will take you directly to our Vonage Business Cloud support system and has all of the additional information about how to set it up with all of the links. On the Nexmo application side, customers can sign up for free accounts at any time and gain access to all of the APIs that are available through our system. This is a strictly provided system, and customers will need to develop their own application resources and build their own UI. Vonage does not build, host, or support any of the solutions that can be created by the APIs themselves. However, the customer does have several options available to them. They can build their own server, host their own code, and their own web UIs directly on site, or they can leverage third-party systems that are available out in the world, such as Node-RED, which allows them to have access to not only the Vonage API system, but other systems like IBM Watson or Amazon Alexa, which gives them much more dynamic capabilities, as well as drag and drop to create the system, which is known as low code. In the application section, you can see that I already have my smart number application created. I have my Vonage smart number also attached to it, and you can clearly see the ID that corresponds to the ID inside of the Vonage Business Communications System. Let's go ahead and click on Edit. Inside the system, what makes it run is the event URL and the answer URL. The event URL is essentially a link that the system will sit and listen for that phone number being dialed. It will also collect any data that the customer may do. For example, if they pressed 1 for sales or 2 for support, it can take that information and pass it along to whatever the customer desired to configure their application to do. The answer URL takes that information and sends the answers back out through the system to the end user to give them the data that they were looking at. It's important to note here this VBC smart number section. If you are creating an app inside of the Vonage API system, leveraging Nexmo, and you are using smart numbers, you need to make sure that you assign a phone number and that you tell the system that it is using a VBC smart number. This ensures that the system is only charging the standard monthly fee inside of VBC to process all of this data. If you fail to enable this radio, it will charge you per task inside of the Nexmo system, and you will need to make sure that you have money in there to do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the completed project. Inside here, you can see the number that I have linked and I can unlink this number if I need to. I can add additional numbers to it if I want to. I also have link external accounts if I want to link other external sources like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, or Viber. So let's take a quick look at Node-RED so you can see just how simple this could be for a customer to set up. In the prior example, I mentioned using DTMF tones and being able to track which buttons were pressed by the customer. So in Node-RED, the customer could set up their own account and have it hosted anywhere like Roku or IBM Bluemix. The Node-RED system itself is completely free, but they would need to pay for the hosting service itself. Again, this is not something that Vonage will do for them. But once they have this running, they can simply add the Nexmo APIs to the system and build an answer system so that it knows when the call comes in this case, play a message to the customer so that they can actually respond back, listen for the tone that they hit, and then process that information down into the input that says they pressed option 1, option 2, or option 3, play a confirmation back to the customer, but also store that information into a Google Sheet so that you can run metrics on it later. This is just one of thousands of examples, and Node-RED does have additional published information from the Vonage team on sample coding of other tasks that can be built inside of the Node-RED system. The final link is the Vonage Business Cloud support page, which gives you all the information on how to set these items up and some examples of how you could use it as well.